All right, first live show that we're gonna do. This will be
I
fun.
know. This is gonna be really fucking interesting, and we'll
And it
see
will.
exactly what happens as we go through this.
And I got to look at the camera now. I'm used to looking at the screen, but anyway,
I
here we
know.
go.
All right.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 194 of Let Me Get That Potograph. And let me get that potograph. I don't know, version 3.0, 4.0, whatever you want to call it, coming to you with some video this week, starting our videos out as well. My name, of course, is Drew, or the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host right over there, Mr. Scott Rappaport. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Drew? It's gonna be a weird one today.
It is.
First time we are releasing video for the show.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how this goes, and we'll take it from there, and we'll kind of roll. But a couple things that I want to point out, because
Sure.
some really cool things have happened, and especially now that we can do video.
Yes.
So last week we talked about, it was all about the National. We talked about our awesome sponsor, Zion Cases, and their release of the MagPro at the National and how they're going to be available. I figured, hey, we're live, and look, this is going to be a sponsor-heavy show today. We got John from Denver Card Shows coming up, and he's going to talk about some things. But let me turn the lights on here really quick here, because I tested this out before you got in the room. And there we go. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So I just wanted to show off, like, we can actually do this, and there's some glare. I'm trying to get around it there, but like, look how
awesome are those?
Clear this stuff is. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back to that one in a minute, because I want to preface this. But like the sparkly, shiny stuff.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It comes through awesome. You could see that one, and then
gorgeous. I see a lot of nice National pulls in there. Oh, that courtside looks beautiful.
Yeah, the green courtside. Of course, my boy Robert Covington. But what I really wanted to do, because we saw the Horner, but I also have, this is a good example. So I've got the Louis Robert gold in a standard Ultra Pro.
Yep.
And you can see the difference in how those shine through, aside from the glare and things like that. Let me center that. So
absolutely. No, those things are gorgeous, man. I mean, like we said before, Clinton's Zion Case is putting out something huge with the new MagPros. They're
exactly, and then
gorgeous.
Then obviously here's the the changeable flip that you can put out. It's got the one that's got a spot you can write in a price or put a price tag on it. Things like that, and it's just an awesome product. As you guys get to see my armpit there for a second while I turn the lights back off.
There you go.
But that I kind of wanted to show that off, because I'm like in love with the product. and frankly, even if they weren't a sponsor of ours, I'd still be in love with the product.
No, 1,000%. I completely agree with you on that. Whether they're a sponsor or not, I've known Clint for his entire time since before Zion Cases came out, when he showed me the mock-ups for these a long time ago, almost a year ago. I was like, oh man, these are going to be awesome. These are going to change the game. And you've seen a lot of people try and come out with versions of these, what I mean, since his have popped out, but none of them have I'll tell you right now, just because I know Clinton's Zion Cases, and we don't partner with anyone that isn't an amazing company in my eyes, but the quality that you're going to get with the MagPros is far and beyond better than anything else you're going to find on the market.
Yeah, and I've been keeping these in the PSA size perfect fit sleeves. But I did talk to them at the National about putting out sleeves for them as well.
Nice.
Because they're not standard size. They need something to protect it, and they're working on that.
Yeah.
So that's the good news. And I had something completely non-hobby related happen the other day that I'm really freaking excited about.
What's that?
So I got a text message from my buddy JTG, who is with the band Cowboy Mouth.
Yeah.
Been a friend of mine for, over 25 years. Great guy. He is getting his original band back together.
Nice.
So if you are a fan of early 80s punk rock, the Red Rockers are coming back with the original lineup, except for the drummer.
Okay.
Playing a show. First show back is going to be November 11th down in New Orleans, which is where they originally started. So, really excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Figured
nice.
I'd bring that up because,
Hey,
we
yeah.
might as well.
Yeah, why not? Hey, while we're at it, Chicago bass band Park, who does our outro music, you guys could get back together. That'd be awesome. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's dive right into this week's show, man. We got a lot of awesome stuff. As you said, John from Denver Card Shows will be joining us a little bit later. If you guys don't remember, a few months ago, he came on with a really interesting story, so to speak. And we've got some updates on that and a lot of really other cool stuff coming from him. So he'll be joining us a little bit later. But Scott, I mean, where the hell else can we start? I mean, it's not like anything happened in the hobby this week.
No, nothing happened in
Nothing.
the hobby. It's
Nothing.
funny. An hour after
Yes.
we recorded last week's episode,
Fucking ridiculous, dude.
I got a message from a friend of ours that had the screenshot of
The Wall
Panini,
Street Journal article. Yeah.
Wall Street Journal article, Panini filing a lawsuit against Fanatics.
Yeah.
And they are, claiming all sorts of things,
Yeah.
in the lawsuit. And I'm pulling it up here. If I can go back,
They're basically claiming a monopoly. They're saying that
claiming,
Fanatics tried to halt them from printing cards and try and cut off their resources, among many other things.
Yeah, claiming, that the contracting process that the leagues put out there was not fair because they weren't put out to bid.
Which I find funny.
Exactly. Now, another interesting one they put out there was that they are claiming that that Fanatics threatened employees that if they did not come to work for them now, and this all rolled out at the Mid Collective, that they would never work in the industry again.
Yes. Yeah.
And that one, so see, that's the thing. So the whole non-bid contract thing, that one's kind of iffy.
Well, yeah, because Panini, let's make it clear. Panini didn't bid to get those licenses when they got them. They bought, and when they got Contenders, they literally bought out Playoff. I mean, they didn't bid on the stuff that they got. So that part of the lawsuit, I find funny how they automatically say, oh, well, now we need bids because we're in the running. But when we got them, no. We'll just buy them.
No, exactly. Now, when it comes to private corporations, and I will preface this, I reached out to my buddy Eli, who is a mergers and acquisitions attorney, also specializes in intellectual property. I did not hear back from him in time for us to do the show, but I wanted to have him on to talk about this from a legal standpoint because he would have been the perfect guy to do it. But if it's a public agency, government agencies, when it comes to contracts over a certain dollar amount, and I believe it's $25,000 in most cases, they are required by law to put them out to bid for these contracts.
Right.
However, we all know that the leagues and the players associations are not public corporations.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily need to do that.
No.
But the leagues also enjoy a certain exemption from antitrust legislation that the government has bestowed on them. Yeah. And with that comes some additional, things that they may have to do. So it's that one I'm not holding my breath on from Panini's standpoint. Yeah. But the one that is interesting, and if they can prove it, if Fanatics, this is the one that I think has the greatest chance of success from Panini's standpoint, if they have the proof that it's true. And that is the, employees being threatened that if you don't come to work for us now, that you will never work in this industry again.
Well, it's interesting because that part is kind of in Fanatics countersuit, which, my God, I want to dive into because this was a straight up power move if I've ever seen one by Michael Rubin, and it's just so funny. But in the countersuit, it alleges that Panini brought suits against at-will former employees without incomplete restrictions who took jobs at Fanatics at the Mint, and that it threatened to do the same to others, and that Fanatics consented to a contemporary injunction barring 7 former Panini employees from recruiting others away or using confidential information. And I can tell you, I know a lot of people that moved over to Fanatics from
Yep.
Panini, and I have heard from one of them that 1000% that happened. And so it's very odd that Panini would put that in their counter in their suit, saying the stuff about employees when Fanatics can come right back with a countersuit and say, well, look what we even had to do with these employees that we did take at the mint. Like that's an interesting one to me. And it makes me wonder how much weight does that aspect of the Panini part of the lawsuit hold weight? Because when Panini put it out, I thought, okay, wow, this is nice. Maybe there's some type of case here. Then when Fanatics puts out their response to everything and a lot more other stuff, I don't know. This is tough. This is going to be a tough one for Panini. Very tough. And I think they knew that, but I think they had to do it. I mean, they had to do this.
I'm trying to.
They're getting gutted.
Right, and I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Well, there was a very interesting one in Fanatics' countersuit, though, because we all know Fanatics was trying to buy Panini, and has been for the last couple of years. They want the intellectual property, they want the licenses early, and it makes sense because the current licenses that they would be able to produce cards under are more profitable for the card manufacturer than the new licenses.
100%.
One of the things that was in this countersuit, though, against Panini was, and I'm quoting from an ESPN article here, they gave numbers that were inflated by $200 million a year on profits.
Yeah. Yep. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And if that's the thing, if they, now that, look, no deal was ever consummated, they didn't buy the company, but if they had bought the company and, paid a price based on, cooking the books by $200 million, that is, I mean, there's fraud written all over that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Some accountant is going to wind up getting, thrown in prison for that.
No, I really want to see. This is what I said when I first saw the Panini suit. And then it's immediately when I saw the countersuit, the first thing I said, God, I hope one of these makes it to Discovery. Just get to Discovery, because that's when, look, we've got these that we're talking about now. It's going to be quiet from here on out for a while. You're not going to have massive amounts of breaking news, I don't think, from this lawsuit beyond these initial suits, unless we hit Discovery. And if we hit Discovery, I really don't think, now whether 200 million, that can easily be a made up number, whatever, we have no idea. But I have a feeling, even if it's not 200 million, even if that part of it isn't, let's say that doesn't even matter and that's complete BS, I still don't think Panini or Topps/Fanatics wants either of these to go to Discovery.
No, of course not. And even if it's 50 million instead of 200 million, you got to keep in mind that they're talking about per year.
Yeah.
And when it comes to valuation of a company from a sales standpoint, they typically take the annual profit and apply a multiplier to it based on, conditions that are known at the time. And obviously the case with this is they're known for, 2 more years in one, or 2 more seasons in one sport, 3 more seasons in another. So you've got to put a 2 to 3 times multiplier on that number. So if it's 200 million, you're really talking about between 400 and 600 million worth of money that's going to be out of pocket.
Yeah,
exactly. But if it's 50 million, you're still talking about an additional, 150 to 200 million dollars a year that Fanatics would have to put out in order to acquire the company. So, that's the part that's really going to be interesting. And I honestly think this is, so both companies have an interest in settling this quickly. Both companies also, if they can't settle it quickly, well, let me rephrase that. Fanatics, if they can't settle it, has an interest in getting this to Discovery and getting it through trial quickly. Panini, on the other hand, has an incentive to drag things out, as long as they can. So we'll see what happens. I don't think this is going to wind up settling.
No, I don't either.
And I honestly, I think Fanatics is still going to wind up coming out on top in this, only because they've got deeper pockets.
Oh yeah, they've got the deeper pockets, but I mean, let's take a look at some of the stuff that Fanatics said in their countersuit real quick, because they went in hard, and this is why I don't think there's a settlement. I know a lot of employees at Panini. One of them, not Tracy, I want to make this clear. One of them at the National did tell me that something like this was coming. They said their big news would be post-national, but it would make the news. And boy, were they right with their initial, lawsuit. So this obviously has been in the works for quite some time, and they strategically planned this after the National. But Fanatics, when they came back at it, they really came at Panini very hard. And I know the higher ups in Panini are taking this personal. I think any deal is 1000% off the table. But this Fanatics lawsuit, or this Fanatics countersuit, they dive in and show the just gross negligence at Panini. Everything that we've covered, all the fake patches, the Mitchell and Nesses being in game used jerseys. Like there is so much stuff that they went into detail. But these comments right here is where it really gets me. They call Panini the stagnant, long-time incumbent that has become complacent and failed to invest in marketing or innovation, instead funneling profits to its owners in Italy. And that choice yielded a track record of dismal customer service, quality control issues, shoddy product offerings, vast numbers of outstanding redemption cards, and missed opportunities to grow revenue. I mean, my God, that is just a bitch slap in the face.
They're not wrong.
No, that's the problem.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
There's nothing in that. There's nothing in that statement that is wrong. Look, their customer service, while granted it is getting better, for years has been abysmal.
Yes.
Everybody knows about the outstanding, the issue with the outstanding redemptions.
Well, just the entire redemption process in general and how they're starting to handle it now is a complete and total joke.
Yeah. Opportunities for innovation. That's one of those that's like, I'm not.
They took their shots. They made new products. Yeah. They put stuff out. They were not. Now, I will agree there's some stuff like not changing the design of, Don Russ outside of a new zigzag here and there for a decade. That's a little frustrating. But the same can be said with, I don't know, Bowman, anything else. But I think that's almost done on purpose with a product, especially like a high-end one like National Treasures, for example. You want them to kind of have that.
Or if you look at Prism. Prism really hasn't changed since 2015. 2015. 2015 was the older design, but maybe 2016, 2017?
Yeah, when they started incorporating a crowd background, started taking away from the full-on sheen background. Yeah,
right. Prism really hasn't changed that much since then. So but at the end, and then of course, in order to produce more product, they have to produce more parallels and things like that. And look, we've complained about that for
the Topps was doing the same thing. I mean,
exactly.
This isn't a Panini specific problem. I would almost argue that the entity that Fanatics bought had the exact same problems that they're talking about. Now, are they trying to change it? Yes. And are they doing a good job? From what I've seen so far, yes. But I mean, let's be honest here. The stuff that they just jumped down Panini's throat about, they were just as bad when they weren't under the Fanatics name, and they're not perfect now.
No. Look at the number of parallels that have been added to, Topps Chrome, Bowman products and things like that. It's ridiculous. But if you talk about innovation, they're really not doing much innovating as far as cool things. I mean, but at the same time, how much can you really innovate?
Right.
Changing a design on a product, like they do with the Topps flagship products, and then it bleeds over into Chrome, things like that. Yeah. It really, that's not innovation.
No, that's just gradual change. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Upper Deck, maybe like a decade ago, put out cards that had little video screens embedded in it.
Yeah,
that,
Panini tried it, but then they sent the ones
yeah,
out that didn't even have the video inside.
right. Okay.
The HRX.
That's, that's innovation.
Yes, yeah.
That would be something innovative. Now, but
Which
there
you
really
could argue
hasn't.
they did. I mean, they tried the blockchain stuff. They did try a lot of different things that would be considered innovative. I think their NFT system actually, as someone who was involved in it early and then moved a little out of it, it is still very active. I mean, they did do the innovation. It worked out a hell of a lot better than Topps did. Tell you that much.
No,
And
that's true, but at the same time, and they're still putting out, NFT related products, but I liked it better, their first go around with NFTs where it came with the physical card.
well, they're making more and more of those now. There's a
Yeah.
lot more now that are coming out. But I'm just saying, when it comes to innovation, what else can you do besides, okay, NFTs are hot. All right, let's try and merge something like that with it. I mean, what else could you really do? I mean,
I don't know if that's really, but I don't know if I'd call that innovative. I would call that bandwagon. Um,
yeah,
you know,
but you're creating a new asset and a brand. You're creating a new asset for your company. So, in terms of innovation, I don't really know what you could do outside of trying new products, bringing
yeah,
old products back with a new twist to it, which they did with a lot of their intellectual property they were about to lose. They put it in something called Chronicles, and now they get to keep it.
yeah.
Zenith, lots of other stuff down the line. But I mean, I do think they were innovative. So I don't know, that part of it was really weird, but I mean, Panini attacking him for the monopoly. Everyone said the word, and everyone thought it was
Yep.
going to come. But like I said, I think this is something that they had to do. Just no matter what, they had to do it. Now, I don't know if they think they can win this at all, but I think they felt like they had to do it. They had to at least try. They had to see what they could do. They had to go for it. I don't think they expected this response from Fanatics at all.
No, I don't think so. I don't
I
think
think
so at
they
all.
thought this would help possibly sway some sort of negotiation. Maybe there was still negotiation for the company on the table or anything like that. From the looks of it now, it looks like Fanatics wants nothing to do with this company anymore, and they just
No, and
want
what
to
I
bury
what I
them.
think is going to happen now, I think that by filing the lawsuit, I think Panini has, kind of shot itself in the foot as
Yeah.
far as any chance of selling the company to
Yes.
Fanatics.
Yep.
What I still think is a possibility.
Outside of pennies for the dollar, like just getting destroyed.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. The only, their saving grace right now is they still hold licenses for, some of the soccer leagues.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but they're going to have to produce an insane amount of product in order to maintain, their intellectual property for a lot of these products. Now,
Yes.
look, they can put out Prism, Select,
Mhm. Optic.
Donruss, Optic,
Yeah.
whatever they want in smaller quantities, and they could do it with Chronicles and things like that. But they're also, what are they going to do with National Treasures and
Right.
Flawless? And don't get me wrong, I think Flawless and National Treasures for certain leagues, if they did like a Flawless Premier League,
Oh, it'd
uh,
be amazing.
I would
But
be
I
all
don't
over
think you
that.
could do like Bundesliga and stuff like that. I think you'd have to.
Well, they don't have Bundesliga.
Oh yeah, it's
Topps
true. Yeah,
has
they don't. Yeah,
Topps has
Tops has it.
Bundesliga.
Yeah, but no, for Premier League, I agree. And World Cup type of stuff, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it'd be
Um,
awesome.
but again, that's a tiny portion of the revenue
A lot of
compared
niche
to,
markets. You're throwing yourself into upper deck territory, and we've seen where they're at. I mean,
yeah,
the name still carries a lot of weight with a lot of collectors, but not modern. It's all the old school stuff that
yeah.
anyone thinks about when they think about upper deck. If you're not a diehard hockey collector, and so that's what I mean. That's really where Panini's headed, into a niche market type of company, unless this lawsuit and something with it. I mean, do you think that, if anything, do you think this lawsuit possibly opens the door for non-exclusives? I mean, is that chance on the line that, okay, maybe nothing happens with the companies, but maybe people start to take a look at these exclusives and say, well, maybe they shouldn't be allowed to have these. Maybe they need to have two or three and limit the amount of products, limit what they can produce. Do you think that that's something that could possibly come from this?
Well, that's a good question. So, let's say we get to 2026 and Fanatics now has the licenses for the 3 largest sports in the United States.
Yeah.
We're not going to include, look, hockey is a very niche market. It's a great market. I think it's awesome. And Upper Deck does a great job with it. But look, the money in the hobby is really, at least in the United States, is really with baseball, basketball, and football.
Yes.
And having a monopoly, but we can look at, you can't really compare because government has always come in and broken up monopolies.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with AT&T back in the 80s. Remember the old Ma Bell stuff. They, they're looking at doing it with like Google and, and things like that now. But you also got to, you can't really compare Fanatics to that because all the things that the government has broken up have really been considered public services.
Yes.
The collectibles market is not a public service.
Right.
So that's borderline. I don't think they ever wind up getting broken up.
Sure.
Because it really doesn't matter.
No, I don't think it happens either, but I've seen a lot of discussion about it, and I've seen a lot of people talk about the exclusives with this coming out. And I don't necessarily see anyone being forced to do it. I think eventually the leagues might decide a certain league might decide they want to go away from an exclusive once they're not happy with something. I think that's much more likely. I don't really see Major League Baseball doing it. It's not really their style, but I could easily see basketball doing it. I could see basketball move away from exclusives or the Players Association, anything like that. I could easily see them being the ones to say, and no, let's go, because they seem to adopt and change a little bit more than the other leagues do when it comes to stuff on that type of a level. They like to experiment and then just backpedal if it doesn't work. So if we see it happen, I think it's going to be the leagues making that choice on their own. And if it does, it would be basketball to me. But I don't think we're going to see it. But it is something interesting to think about because exclusives are going to play a major part in all this. If this stuff goes forward, these exclusives, let's be honest, that's what's driving all of this.
No, exactly. And look, these are long-term contracts that Fanatics signed with the leagues and the players associations. So even if they do decide, hey, something's not working, we want to go back to non-exclusive and have, 2 or 3 different, licenses that are out there. It's not going to happen for at least 10 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So, that's one of those things. And frankly, I think the leagues should reevaluate every 5 years.
I agree.
And give it a chance to, say, hey, there's a renewal after 5 years. If we, or, it's a 5-year contract with a 5-year option. We call it a league option, and we have to exercise that option. It's at before the 4th year, or before the 5th year of the contract begins.
Well, I think as players and as the leagues and the players associations and everyone really gets more involved in the industry, because let's be honest, they're more involved now than they ever have been before. And it's just, if you go by Fanatics and what everyone else is saying, they're going to get even more involved in the future. I think that's something they're going to start paying attention to. Honestly, I think 5 years ago, no one gave a shit. Now, I think a lot of people are paying attention to this because they're saying, okay, wow, we don't even have to buy the stuff. We don't even have to participate, but we can make a lot of money off of this. And so I don't know. We might see that start to change here in the near future. But I agree. Every 5 years, it needs to be reevaluated and it needs to be looked at. But unfortunately, there's deals in place right now that are preventing that from happening.
No, exactly. Now, I do want to bring up, because we got John from Denver Card Shows coming up here in a minute. I do want to bring up innovation again, because I was thinking about, how can we innovate a product? You know what I'd love to see? I would love to open up.
I'm scared to ask, but what?
No, this would actually be cool.
Oh, okay.
I would love to see open up a box of, let's say, Topps Chrome. So we're going to talk about that later in the show, and pull a redemption for a game used autographed baseball.
No, I would. Yeah, there you go.
From one of the rookies, that's in there. A rookie year game used autographed baseball
or something. Yeah.
If I was opening football, you can have maybe not game used because there are fewer of them than baseballs, but pull a redemption for an autographed football from like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
How cool would that be? And they would have those ready to go and ready to ship, so it wouldn't be a long turnaround time.
Yeah.
But I think that would be innovative.
No, it would, especially from your athletes that are, Panini exclusive, Topps
Yeah.
exclusive, the guys you have access to, and the guys that are signing a
Yep.
million things for you anyway, and that you have in your store already.
Yeah.
So why not? I think that, yes, in terms of innovation, that's a prime example of something you could do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we'll see how everything plays out over the next, I don't know, year, 2, 3 years as these things, as it either gets settled quickly or it drags through court. But you're right. I'm excited to see Discovery on this because I
Oh,
want to
please,
see,
please hit Discovery, please.
I want to see what how's that. So if the attorneys for both sides are listening, please, we want to see Discovery.
Yeah,
We
that's
want to
all
see this go out. Even if you plan on settling it, still go through the
just
Discovery
get the
process
Discovery.
just to satisfy us.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
Because that's hours of content. Please get to Discovery.
Yeah, we can unpack that for a while, and we can continue unpacking that now. But we got a really cool guest that is sitting in our green room right now. A guy who I spent a bunch of time with at the National a couple weeks ago. A guy's been a guest on our show. A guy who's a sponsor of our show, and who has an amazing business, an amazing, is just an all-around great guy. So let's bring Jon into the room.
Absolutely. Mr. Scanlon, what's going on?
Fellas, how are you?
We are doing great on our end. How was your trip back? How's your trip back to Denver?
Finally made it, and it was great to sleep in our own bed, but I had a blast out in Chicago. Holy crap.
Nice. Had you ever just, before we get into the memes, had you been to Chicago before?
Yeah. Okay. I set up the last time. The last time the show was in Chicago was my first time setting up with a booth.
Okay. But I mean, even like vacations and just random trips.
Yep, sure have. I lived in Des Moines for a while, so Chicago was like the big city that was cool and close.
Yep. Yeah, it's either there or Minneapolis. And,
Chicago's a little cooler.
Yeah, Chicago's definitely a little cooler than Minneapolis, except in the winter. Minneapolis is cooler than Chicago. So we were talking at the National.
Yep.
And, part of the reason we want to have you back on, you had mentioned something to me, and I know you talked to Drew about it before, so we had you on a couple months ago. Drew, do you remember the episode number so people can go back and listen?
Since we're live on video, no. We'll find that episode out.
All right. So go back and look for that episode after this is done. You were on talking about your experience about how you got taken by a scam artist and some fake PSA slabs, and how, it gave you a bad feeling, and you reached out to Joe Orlando, and Joe told you to basically go pound sand. And now we come to where you're telling me what happened afterwards while we were at the National. So I will let you jump in and, give us the update.
Yeah, it's been a lot of positives have come out of that episode. We're working really closely now to hopefully having PSA come out and do our show next summer when we have our big show. And that's going to be huge for what we do. We're going to have to take a good look if PSA comes, if we're actually in a building suitable for the show at that size, So it's nothing's confirmed, but we're in talks right now to have that happen next summer. And again, that would be huge. PSA came out and took a look at the show in July or at the end of June. So hopefully they liked what they saw, and we'll start building that relationship. It was interesting because we had talked with Chris Carlin, and he said that he heard the interview on the show, and I was taken back a little because he was like, "Do you do a podcast about PSA?" And I was like trying to get them to the show, and I was like, "Well, I did a podcast about being ripped off by someone selling fake PSAs." And he's like, "Listen, we're a much different company now. We don't want people to have that experience with us. We've cleaned up a lot in our company, and, just know that we're not the same, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we don't leave any customers walking away from PSA feeling like you did. He went on to tell me he had everybody listen to the podcast at PSA. So that was super cool. It's very humbling for me. I just a card guy that started a show, and I'm trying to make a difference out here, and it's reaching places that I never thought it could. So, and especially when I was shut down at those places early on. So, hats off to what they're doing at PSA. They're turning, I guess, a new leaf. It's been quite a while since ownership's changed, but they're really taking care of the people now, and I'm very encouraged by that.
Well, Chris Carlin in particular, Chris is a very good friend of the show, formerly with Upper Deck, now over there at PSA, heading up their customer service and their customer experience, I believe is his actual role. Chris is a wonderful guy, and they really have taken a lot of really big steps, but it's nice to know that, they're reaching out to people like you. It's good to know Chris is still listening to the show. What's up, Chris? And thanks for making your employees listen to that as well, because
that explains our uptick in numbers that week.
Probably.
But I will say Chris's official title, according to his business card, is Director of Customer Care.
That's it.
Because I did have hang on, I did have his business card sitting right here. While we were talking about that, just randomly from what I unpacked from the National, that was still sitting there. So,
well, everything I could gather from the few short conversations I've had with him, it's a position he takes very seriously, and I can tell firsthand from experience that that's what he wants to do moving forward. So,
and that doesn't surprise me one bit.
No.
Look, we've known Chris for a long time, and he's always been a stand-up guy. He's always been a guy that, tries as hard as he can to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I think had he been there at the time that all this went down, with you, that I think you would have had a very different outcome.
Yes.
At the time. But I do give Chris and PSA credit for, reaching out and saying, hey, look, this happened under previous management, but we still want to try to change things so people don't wind up, in the same situation that you were in, and getting the same type of response that, that you got from them as well.
Yeah. And it was very important to me, especially back then, to just try to protect people, and, get the cold shoulder from Mr. Orlando was rough, So, again, kudos to Mr. Carlin, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, he definitely, you definitely weren't the only one that got that cold shoulder from Mr. Orlando. Lots of people got that shoulder.
Yeah.
But so John, I wanted to talk to you about it because you mentioned it earlier, Denver card shows. You guys had your big all cards weekend a couple months ago, but you've got another show coming up this month and a couple more this year. Yep. Everything seems to be getting a lot bigger, but tell everybody a little bit about the upcoming show.
So our next show is August 26th and 27th here in a couple of weeks. We're looking at a little over 150 tables right now. So our monthly show is still just growing out of control, especially when we talk about our numbers from last year at this time. We have Jerry Jeudy, Denver Bronco, awesome all-star coming out, signing autographs for the fans, and it's going to be a great weekend. Food trucks, trade night, everything you're looking for.
I actually came across a nice Jerry Jeudy card when I was looking through a box yesterday. I may send that out to you.
Okay.
Try to have you get that signed. We'll talk about that later. But
absolutely.
So you have that one coming up in August, and then what? Do you have September's and the rest of the schedule all set up as far as dates?
Yep. For the rest of the year, we've got August 26th, 27th, October 29th and 30th, about 28th, 29th, October 28th, 29th, and then December 8th, 9th, and 10th, we're doing another all cards weekend. So it'll be another big show that lasts in December.
Nice.
Yeah, the all cards
Yeah,
weekend.
little
There's some
holiday
awesome ones.
shindig,
And
man.
I like the idea of having a big show like that in December because that's really, as someone who travels the shows for a living and does it a lot, that's really it's kind of looked at as a downtime when you look at card shows. And so I think, having an all cards weekend, having a big show like that in December is a very good idea, especially, and I can attest to this from going to Collecticon and from going to a lot of other shows and seeing your show in particular. The Denver hobby community and the surrounding area, that whole area is a very strong community. The collecting community there is massive, and I think it's been underserved for a long time. And it's a group of people that are excited to have opportunities to go to shows.
Yes. Yeah. I had a very predominant buyer, one of the guys that goes around to the shows and, they pick out the top 10% of your case and want to pay you 50%, one of these guys that travels around a lot. He actually introduced me to somebody in the industry. This is Mr. Jon Scanlon. He's the man that ruined Denver. And I stepped back and I was like, I ruined Denver? And he's like, yeah, I used to be able to come to Colorado and spend $2 million a year and had no competition. And now it's all organized and everybody's coming. So,
wait a second. I think I know who this is. Just based on exactly those words, I know exactly who that is.
Yep.
I'm not going to mention his name now.
No.
He's actually a cool. Really great guy.
Amazing. I love him to death. Every time him and I interact, he makes sure to talk to my mom. Like, he's great guy. But I wear it like a badge of honor I ruined Colorado for him like that.
Yeah, I know exactly who this is.
Yep. Very nice.
Yeah. So that is a badge of honor, for him to say that to you.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see, what you've got in store for next year. Obviously you've got, 3 more shows this year. But I'm really excited to see how you grow next year because I've got a feeling that you're going to need a bigger space.
Yeah.
As
need a bigger
Roy,
boat. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, as Roy Scheider is fond of saying, I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you're going to need a bigger space. And I'm trying to think. I know there's like an expo center that's out there because I went to a gun show back there in like 2014, and it was you could definitely fit
National Western, wasn't it?
Yeah, you could definitely fit a bigger show there, assuming you can work out the cost aspect of it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a feeling
the only problem I don't like about that place is they use they use what we have in drier climates. It's called a swamp cooler, evaporative cooler for cooling. Doesn't do the job of an air conditioner in the summer, especially with a bunch of meaty boys walking around. So we like the temperature control, and that's going to be real important.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, especially after what happened in Chicago with that temperature.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling it's definitely going to outgrow the Crown Plaza Convention Center, which, guys, if you are going or want to attend the Denver Card Show, that is where the next one will be in August at the Crown Plaza Convention Center. But yeah, so it's amazing what you've done with the Denver community. It's great that you've ruined it for some people. But I really love, also, and I really wanted to have you on to just have an update on, where everything stood with PSA, because that was for people to go back and listen to the original interview, that was a very strained relationship, and rightfully so. It's amazing to see, that the efforts that they've made to put forth to make things right with you, to assure you of everything being different, and actually going to that length to prove it, and hopefully you guys can start to build a much more positive relationship in the hobby, because obviously that's what we all want.
Yeah, and I think the grading companies really want to come to Denver. If you came to All Cards Weekend, the first thing that you saw walking in the door was SGC. They were one of our predominant sponsors.
Yep.
And I caught up with him at the end of Saturday. the end of our second day open and talked with Brian, the owner. And, I was like, how are things holding up to, what you were hoping for? And he's like, man, we have exceeded expectations. So we've got a very big ground of people. And like you said, this whole Denver, Colorado, Rocky Mountain region of collectors is really big and really getting some good representation now.
No, I agree. It surprised me when we went to Collecticon. That was what we had it on our calendar as one of our possible slower shows, and boy, did it blow it out of the water, not only from the TCG side, but from the sports side as well. I think it was our busiest sports Collecticon we had. It's a, amazing community out there. So love what you're building, man. I think it's awesome. Can't wait to see a whole lot more of it. But if anyone is interested, before we let you go, let them know how they get in touch with you and find out all that good information.
Oh, you can find all of our information mostly on our Instagram at Denver Card Shows. We've got our website, denvercardshows.com. And we're Denver Card Shows on all the social platforms, up into including the new X and what was the other one that came out recently?
Threads. Yeah, we got us up on Threads as well. Yes, we are. Threads. Denver Card Shows is on Threads, guys.
Awesome. So yeah, we're easy to get in touch with. Let us know what you need, and we're ready to roll.
Awesome. Well, Jon, thanks for coming on with us again. Give us the update. It's always great having you here. We'll have you back on with us soon, and wish you luck
anytime.
Wish you luck at the August 26th, 27th card show coming up at the end of the month.
Yes,
I appreciate it, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Have a good one, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, you too.
And that was Mr. Jon Scanlon with Denver Card Shows.
Always love having Jon on.
I like doing this live, man, to be quite honest. I like doing it live.
I know. We had a little bit of feedback, which hopefully you'll be able to clean up for the time that it goes to the streaming services, Spotify, iHeartMedia, and iTunes. But those of you that are watching the live video, you'll get you'll get the raw cut. So you'll hear that. But I love having Jon on. I love, the fact that, he comes on, he tells me, when I saw him, he's like, did Drew tell you, what happened after the interview? And he tells me the story about, the conversation with Chris Carlin and things like that. And frankly, it doesn't surprise me. Knowing Chris, that doesn't surprise me at all. Because he is a solid stand-up guy, always has been.
No, I said when they hired him on this show, I said it was one of their best hires they could have done. Like Chris Carlin, I would literally go to bat for that dude on having any job in this industry. There's very few people that are as kind-hearted and caring about the collector as Chris Carlin in this industry. So it does not blow my does not surprise me one bit that he wants to reach out and mend those relationships, and that he made people listen to the show, because that sounds like a Chris Carlin move. Guys, sit down and listen to this. This shit isn't happening anymore.
No, exactly. And look, we, part of the reason we do this show is, not to, sit out and, get our faces recognized or voices in most cases, be known. It's to have a positive effect on the hobby.
Yep.
And this is one of those examples that it's like, holy crap, we, by telling Jon's story and, or letting him tell the story, and putting it out there, and now all of a sudden PSA is reaching out and saying, hey, we want to try to fix things as best we can.
And work with you, like
exactly
work with you, have a working relationship, like from something from that point. I mean, when we first had Jon on, you could tell he was pretty much fed up and done with PSA. Like, I mean, and that's not something PSA wants from someone that's running a show in one of the bigger cities in the United States.
Well, not only running a show, he's running the biggest show in, what is arguably the largest market in the mountain region, of the country. And, it's not like the guy who's, going out there putting on a 30 table show, one weekend, for like 6 hours, one weekend a month or whatever. I mean, look, and no disrespect to those guys, because look, some of those shows are really good.
Oh yeah.
But this is a massive destination show,
Yes.
for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And, he really has opened up that market
Hmm.
to people from the rest of the country.
Yes.
And frankly, it wouldn't shock me if he has continued success like this. It wouldn't shock me to see the National start to look at Denver, as a
I
potential
agree.
future location. And obviously, that wouldn't be 2028 at the earliest.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
if that happens, we just know that John is the one who kind of laid the groundwork for
Yes.
that being a possibility.
Yep.
But yeah, it doesn't shock me at all that this was the outcome, and I'm glad it is, because if nobody else has the same type of experience, and granted, this was not PSA's fault.
No.
You
No.
know,
No. No. No.
these
No.
were straight up fake slabs that that somebody had put together, and the issue with PSA was just in how they handled the response when he tried to reach out.
Right.
So if this happens again, and I guarantee you that it will, because there are
Mhm.
fake PSA slabs that will continue to be out there, no matter how many steps they take to not have that happen.
Yeah.
If somebody reaches out to PSA who's been in a similar situation and they get a better response,
Yeah.
that is a direct relationship to having John on the show, spreading his story, talking about what
Mhm.
happened, and then Chris, who's obviously a regular listener of the show, hearing it and saying, "Look, guys, this isn't good. This won't stand. Listen to this. I don't want anybody ever feeling that they have an experience like this with us."
Yeah.
Now they're not going to be able to do anything about it from a financial standpoint,
No.
because they were straight up fakes.
Yeah.
It's not like they misgraded a card, or a card was trimmed and they gave it a grade and it shouldn't have been given a grade. Where they've got their guarantee involved. But they still want people feeling comfortable working with the company.
Yes.
And
Yep.
that's where this really comes into play.
Mhm.
So, props to everybody involved with this one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give us a pat on the back, because hey, we did good. We did good today.
Yes, we did.
This is our it's the one
Well, I
time
mean,
of the year.
that's one thing I wanted to point out, and that's one thing I've always wanted to do with this platform. And it's not just talk about the hobby. It's not just to, it's not at all just to get a ton of plays and a ton of views and become big celebrities off of this. No, it's to talk about the hobby, educate people, and also help people. And if we can help people and we can help the hobby in any way, shape, or form, it's what I want to do with this platform. And so even if it helps one person, if it helps people in the future, whatever it may be, if we can help people, that's what I want to do with this show. And it's what we've wanted to do since day one with this show.
Yeah. And it's look, it does kind of make you feel good that, hey,
100%.
We had somebody on, they talked about it, things are changing, and now hopefully, again, in the theme of positive change within the hobby, maybe somebody from Topps or Panini is listening, and they decide to start throwing in redemptions for autographed baseballs and autographed footballs
There
into
you
some of the
go.
products, because
Yeah.
like I
There
said,
you go.
positive change, innovation,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff, because that's our goal. Speaking of Topps,
Yeah.
so we kind of teased it at the end of last show. So we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week because we wanted to really focus on the national coverage. But one of the biggest products of the year came out during the national, and that is 2023 Topps Chrome Baseball.
Yeah.
And holy crap, this product is loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded. Yeah,
and you can tell that it was loaded, because when Wednesday came along on release day for the product, before the show opened to the public, boxes were $150, and by the end of the day, they had incrementally gone up to about $210.
Yeah,
and the stuff that came out of this was absolutely nuts.
Oh yeah, first run was stacked.
And that's the thing. So I had two boxes. So I did a case, and then I did one additional box. I had one box in the case that had a red wave and a gold wave that came out of it. And look, it was J.P. Crawford was the red wave and Brendan Rodgers was the gold wave. Okay, not exactly the best. But the single box that I wound up with had also a red wave and a gold wave in the same box. The gold wave was Josh Young from the
Nice.
Texas Rangers, and the Red Wave was one of the other rookies from Texas as well, who I'm drawing a blank on his name. And it had the super short print Francisco Alvarez in there as well.
Oh, very nice.
Which immediately sold for like $300. So that was the like the holy crap. The auto sucked in that one, but what are you gonna do? But this product, I'm gonna tell you, this product is loaded. I am seeing the Radiant Rookie stuff pop left and right. We are seeing. I still have yet to see and I haven't looked. I know they're out there because people are like. I have yet to see a Frozen Fractor like in person. I thought for sure I would have seen. I thought for sure I would have seen a couple of those at the National, but I did not see them in person.
No.
And I also did not see a TacoFractor in person. Although, look, I've seen pictures of both. We know what both look like. We know we are laughing about the TacoFractor because it is one of the ugliest things on the face of the planet. What I want to know, here's what I want to know. So the TacoFractor, it's technically an insert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a parallel.
Yeah.
But it's a 200 card set.
Mm-hmm.
The base set for Topps Chrome is 220 cards.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just do the full 220 card set as the TacoFractor?
It's a very, very good question. I have no idea. Maybe Taco Tuesday, so they left it at 2.
Well, but it still would have been. But it still would have been 220.
Yeah.
So it's like you got 2 2s in there.
Hey, I'm speculating here. Who the hell knows? Why the hell would you make a TacoFractor to begin with? We could speculate a lot on these, but I don't know. It's a very interesting question. I will say this. I have been told multiple times by a couple of different Topps employees that they did announce that there's something extra that's coming along with these TacoFractors. I was told multiple times that it is something really cool. I mean, these guys at Topps are very excited about whatever is attached to this TacoFractor. Of course, they're not telling you what it is yet, but it's making the sales go through the freaking roof as these things are selling for like $600-700 a pop. I mean, despite being hideously ugly, I guess a lot of people are betting on whatever that extra thing that comes along with it is.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to do that extra thing because it's not like there's a scratch off code on the back.
No, regular card back.
Yeah, there's nothing on it where it's not like a bounty. Like Upper Deck does the bounty program with a couple of their products and things like that. That's not there. No. I don't know. I mean, Chris Bryant popped out a video talking about something cool coming with it. And maybe it's something as simple as, you can walk, for like a year, you can walk in and show it at Taco Bell and get a free taco.
Right. Yeah.
Because we know that Taco Bell does have an affiliation with Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
They do the, swipe a bag, get a taco, promo during a World Series or the playoffs, something like that. Maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. I'm hoping it's something better.
Yes, me too.
But I'm trying to figure out how they're going to, pull it off without some sort of code to type in or anything like that, on the card.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, let's guess. Let's play guess the promotion.
I think it's going to be something. I don't know how in the world they're going to do it. I don't want to go with the easy answer that everybody has of free tacos for life or any of that stuff. I want it to be some type of have tacos with whoever the blank is on the card. Maybe that's why 20 ball players said, screw it, I hate tacos. Maybe 20 people out of the 220 card checklist said, screw it, I hate tacos. I'm not eating them. But everyone else, you get it. Like, I don't know. You go to the ballpark, you get to eat some tacos with Chris Bryant or somebody. I don't know.
So I'm leaning against that one only because it's a 200 card set. I mean, if it was like a 20 card insert set,
yeah,
okay, I could see something like that. But at the same time, are you gonna have to give up the card to get in as part of it? Are they going to have to mark it somehow? Maybe the player, maybe the player autographs it, and once it's signed, they don't, you don't get the promo anymore. But I can't see that happening with a 200 card checklist.
Me neither.
Now,
but
I also can't see it happening because I can't see 20 people saying, hell no, we don't like tacos. Who doesn't like tacos?
I agree.
This is 20. Like, who doesn't like tacos?
No, I will agree with that.
So overall, though, I think the set looks great this year.
Well, and I'll say one thing else. You said, tons of hits coming out of everything. They did a great job with retail this year. I will say they cut down on configurations, at least so far, but everything I've opened has been phenomenal. Like, and everything that I've seen, I have not seen many boxes that are just total crap. There's actually, it does look like, and I have not run the numbers in any way, shape, or form. Someone else can do that for me. But if they ramped up production, you definitely can't tell. I had almost assumed that they decreased production on the retail side of Topps Chrome this year.
Yeah, and I haven't done much retail. I did the case at the National. I did the single box at the National. I did another hobby box at when I was in Michigan at the shops at MoCo. Shout out to Rex. He's got a great shop out there, and he's a fan of the show. I did snag one blaster while I was there as well. I didn't really get anything huge. I think I got an Acuna base, which I'm putting aside because obviously Acuna and Ohtani are the leading candidates for MVP. Just in case Acuna gets hurt, also put aside the Matt Olson stuff. Because I'm thinking if it's not going to be Acuna, it's probably going to be Matt Olson. I don't know who on the AL side it could possibly be, aside from Ohtani. Again, he gets hurt. I think at this point they still give it to him anyway. So it's just, aside from that, it's like, okay. But again, at retail, we're talking about $35 for a blaster.
Right.
Which I think is still high.
It's high. Retail. It's high.
25 would be better.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking, I did pop in since I got back a couple of days ago. I did, pop into one Walmart, one Target, just because I had some returns that I had to do. And I did look at the shelves. I didn't see any. So they're going quick. If you can find them. So I think like I said, I think it's a solid product. The design, obviously we love the design from, when Series 1 was announced, so we knew that was going to be chrome. I like the quality. I've got a stack of stuff that I have to go through for grading, base and refractor rookies and things like that. Mainly because SGC's got the $9 special going on.
Oh yeah.
So loving that. Just overall, I just gotta, and the rookie class is stacked this year.
Yes, it is.
The last 2 years, the rookie class has been underwhelming.
Yeah. It's jam-packed this year.
Yeah. Last year, with regular chrome, you had Wander Franco and you had O'Neal Cruz. This year, there's like 15 guys that you could chase and have a lot of fun with.
Oh yeah.
And have a lot of value with those guys. So, I have from all the boxes that I've opened, things like that. I still have to go through those because I did not get a chance to do that on vacation last week. So it's one of those, like, this is one of those products, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of the other stuff in there. Obviously the TacoFractors we talked about, the radiating rookies just look amazing.
They do.
They're hard as hell to hit, mainly because they only did 20 cards as opposed to the TacoFractors where they did 200. And then obviously we haven't talked about the frozen fractors. Well, we mentioned it briefly. The frozen fractor, let me rephrase that. The Sub-Zero frozen fractor.
Yeah.
Is, numbered to negative something out of 0. So it's not it's not numbered to like -5. It's, -5 out of 0.
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing to do. I like what I've seen out of those. I think it's a good addition to the parallel. It makes things a little bit more fun than just having the traditional serial numbered cards.
Oh yeah.
I think it would have been a lot more appropriate if Topps Chrome was released in like January.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
the cold weather, you know, and things like that.
Yeah.
But
July, a little interesting.
yeah, but I think it's a great, you know, I think it's a great addition this year.
With how absurd serial numbers have gotten, it's gotten to the point where it almost feels like they used to do back in the day, one of 45,000, and that felt, you know, special to people. With as absurd as serial numbers got, I actually ended up liking the Frozen Fractor. When it first came out, I thought it was a stupid idea. The more I look at it, I actually like it. I think it's a good little idea.
Innovative. Well, I'm waiting for them.
Tops.
No, exactly. It's definitely innovative. Now, what I'd like to see is the absolute zero fractor.
There you go.
Numbered to negative 273.
Stop giving them ideas.
Well, hey, look. We're talking about innovation on the show. No, I don't want to see another parallel numbered to 270 something. But if you're going to do another parallel, make it limited. These are numbered. There's only 5 of them.
Yeah.
Or -5.
Yeah.
So do they really exist?
That's a very philosophical question.
Yeah.
Way
are
too
they really there? Are you just imagining? Are you just imagining it in your hand? Is it really there?
Right. Yeah. Is it really there?
But that you know, I would look. I don't want to see high number, but if they're going to do something, you know, do it as a very, very limited parallel, and that's why I think the Frozen Fractor works.
Yeah. No, I agree. I completely agree. I like the Frozen Fractor. I think it's great. I like the entire Topps Chrome release this year. I think they did a phenomenal job with it. I do not like that we still get Topps Chrome Cosmic and all that craziness. But when we're talking about just the regular old flagship Topps Chrome, no matter how bad they try and saturate it with other parallels, I love this year's release. I thought they did a great job. And what the TacoFractor mystery is, who knows?
No, exactly. And the new insert, I love this one, the ultraviolet.
Yeah, no, those are amazing.
Case hit inserts. I've got the Julio. I've got an Acuna as well.
They remind me of the old mid 90s cards where they have the it was like the pop out card, you know, where it had the big head and then the player popped out and everything. It reminds me a lot of I believe they were Upper Deck in like the mid 90s, 96, 95, something like that. But really cool looking cards.
Yeah, I do. I really like those this year. You know, and then obviously you get the typical inserts, the, you know, Future Stars and, you know, the 1988, you know, 35th anniversary, you know, refractors and things like that. But that was a good addition. Obviously, the Radiant Rookies, I think, was a great addition. They, you know, and then obviously you know, you got your short prints, the super short prints, which are ridiculously hard. Those super short prints, one in every 16,938 packs. And there's only 5 guys. They're all rookies.
Yep.
The short print is 1 in 497 in hobby. Actually, both of those are hobby only, by the way.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've got 20 guys. Some are rookies, some are not.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Yeah, you got Acuna, Trout, Guerrero Jr., Judge, Bryce Harper as the non-rookies, and Juan Soto as well. And then the rest are all rookies. Autographs are autographs. I don't like that they knocked it down to 1 autograph per box in hobby and 3 in jumbo.
No. We talked about that a few weeks ago.
No, exactly.
Don't like that at all. But
no, I do like the new Topps and Technicolor insert as well.
All the new stuff in the inserts and everything, and I will say the Future Stars looks phenomenal. It almost looks like a Color Blast this year. Or Future Watch, excuse me. The Future Watch insert.
Future Stars. No, you're right.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Future Watch is SP Authentic Hockey.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, Future Stars I think looks beautiful. It does have that Color Blast look that's really cool. I thought they did a great job on everything. The product overall is very, very nice. And like I said, I haven't run the numbers, but retail feels a little more toned down. There's a lot of nice stuff in it. But yeah, the short print stuff, the variations, the SSP inserts, all that new stuff, phenomenal. It's a great release. And, you know, when you release something the week of the National, it better be good. And, you know, we had the catastrophe with the Vlad rookie year where they had all the miscuts and everything.
But here's the thing, that was only a massive screw up because everybody was taking them and bringing them straight over to Beckett, straight over to PSA for grading, at the National, because it was released. Topps Chrome is typically released at the National.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if you put something out at the National, it better be awesome. Like, you have to come through. And I would say they did one hell of a job with Topps Chrome this year.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah. So,
all right. Well, I think that's probably a good time to wrap up. What do you think, my man?
Yeah, I know. First time we're releasing raw video.
Yeah, raw video.
Well. Excited for the next couple of weeks and stuff. We'll when we don't have a guest on, we will actually be just streaming it live.
Yes, yes, we will be doing it live during the day for anyone that wants to watch it on YouTube when we don't have a guest, just to not put the guests under any time pressure, just in case something comes up or things like that. And you really don't want to look at us look stupid live for 15 minutes while we kill time about bullshit.
Yep.
We're going to keep those to recorded. But every other episode, when we don't have a guest, you will get to see me and Scott live, which is just terrifying. But no,
yeah, I know. That's a crazy.
If you see previous shows outtakes, you'd understand why I say that. But
exactly. But I encourage everybody to go to watch the live feed, the video, and compare it to the stream. Spotify, iTunes, and iHeartMedia streams. Mm-hmm. And you can see or listen to what was edited out, what wasn't. Drew does all the editing on these, so you can see his skill as an audio editor for that. And
there you go.
That used to be my job back in the radio days, and I have just fallen so far behind the technology.
It changes often. But
I know. We used to splice reel to reel together using a razor blade and tape.
Yeah, no, not anymore. That's not how I do it.
No. Then Pro Tools came out. We were using Pro Tools.
Yeah.
The nowadays there's like 50 different programs that you can use to cut it, and it all sounds good. And I just have not kept up with any of it.
I don't blame you. All right, y'all. Well, that is going to do it for episode 194 of Let Me Get That Potograph. We are ramping up and nearing 200 on episode 200. We're going to have a very special show for y'all. But before we go, I do want to thank our awesome sponsors. Of course, John from Denver Card Shows, and thanks for coming on today. But Denver Card Shows, Show Your Slab, Slab Strong, Stand-Up Displays, Card Ladder, Treasure Hunter Sports Cards, Game Time Sports Cards, and, of course, Zion cases with the new MagPros coming out soon that you can check out on the video version. If you're listening to the audio, we have a beautiful demonstration at the beginning of this episode on the MagPros. Scott showed off some amazing ones. So shout out to Zion as well. Also, guys, make sure to check out this week's episode of Hobby Hotline and every single Hobby Hotline. But this week I will be on Hobby Hotline with a couple of amazing guests. Saturdays at 11 a.m. on Bench Clear Media or the Hobby Hotline YouTubes. And, of course, some big news. Let Her Rip is coming back. We will be doing Let Her Rip here in the next couple of weeks. Just got the confirmation and everything set up. Told you guys we had a couple of about month and a half, 2 months off due to a couple of different things. But that is getting back up and running. So new episodes of Let Her Rip will be coming soon as well. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. Till next week, guys, you know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits. We'll talk to you then. Peace.